I wasn't getting the kind of respect that I wanted or the support that I wanted from family and friends because, when your income is inconsistent, it shows. And then I didn't feel like they believed in me. Oh, that day when I lost my job at Sprint, and I said, God, and I was making $45,000 a year. So that I was holding on to with a bachelor's degree in finance and business administration. Yeah.
All right. Okay. All right. So, hey guys, I have Shundal on today. We're just gonna have a conversation just about her journey. She's a real estate developer. She's an agent. She have a broker. She wear a ton of hats. Okay. She's also based in Georgia. She's also a part of my private community. But the conversation that we're really gonna have today is really like she's also an immigrant, right? So she's from the Caribbean. We're gonna talk about that her transition to starting a business to running a business right now. So before I even continue to what's up, girlfriend?
My
Listen,
friend,
she's so nervous, but I tell you, like she has a wealth of knowledge and she's gonna drop some bombs. All
yes.
right.
Okay.
So I think one of the things that I like is that we have similar backgrounds. And we were having a discussion the other day, just talking about how our backgrounds with being an immigrant, how that affect our mindset with starting our business and all of that. With that, can you share like what was your journey like coming from the Caribbean to getting to the States and starting that company?
Well, when I came to the States, I came to Atlanta, Georgia to actually go to college to the Georgia State University.
Yeah.
So that's where I started. With culture shock. Okay. The first couple of years, it was culture shock. One of the words that I had to learn that I didn't know very well was discrimination. I didn't know that word. That word wasn't one that was, in my community. So that was, again, a culture shock that I went through. And I just came not thinking anything of it, didn't have any plans or preparation to open up a business. My goal and my mom's goal at the time was get your education, bring your butt back home, and get a job at the bank.
Because that is the perfect job.
That was the instruction, okay? Because you sure you can get a job at the bank. And that was the goal actually. And what happened was while I was in Georgia State doing finance was my major, studying finance and business administration. I had a friend who was in real estate and decided, I'm gonna hang out with her while she show homes.
Yeah.
And it was just at first there's the idea of going into a house and seeing the house and seeing how people live and comparing, what you see versus where you came from, because having AC on 24 hours a day was like a treat.
Yeah.
You come where you have the ceiling fan, the door open, and you waiting for some of that breeze to blow. And then you come to this country and they burn an AC every day, you know? So that was another like, "Oh, I like that."
Oh
You
yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And so through that process, I end up meeting my first husband here, who was my daughter's father. And after we had gotten married, we had decided to buy a home. And so after going through that process of buying a home and, I liked when I was looking at the houses with my friend, I was like, she's like, girl, you could do this. After I've sold you this house, I'll teach you real estate. She had to make sure.
He's like, I gotta make that commission first.
And believe it or not, that's how it all started. By the time I graduated from school, from university, got married, started shopping for my new house, had all these degrees, but real estate is what captured me. And I still pursued because as you come over here as an immigrant, depending on the university that you go to, they normally have what they call a 1 year where you can work and gain experience. So I end up doing my 1 year at Hewlett Packard and got my 1 year experience using my finance degree. And on the side, I was doing my real estate. I was learning about real estate. I was doing my thing and I became a real estate agent. But I still didn't feel comfortable going full fledged. I
Why do you
worked.
think why was that though?
Well, number one, I knew that I was still an immigrant. I knew that, we have the Social Security card cannot work without INS permission,
Yeah.
but there was this fear of, I don't think I could do this on my own. There's a comfort with a check every 2 weeks.
Mhm.
That was comfortable for me. But let me tell you, when God have other plans.
Oh, honey, listen, okay.
And then I went from Hewlett Packard to Sprint and we got laid off. And I heard this voice say, use what's in your hands. And I was like, what is in my hands? I can't do hair. I cannot do makeup. I'm thinking all this other stuff. And he
With
was like,
your hands.
use what's in your hands. And so the only thing I had in my hands was real estate. And I remember I prayed and I said, God, if you can help me, if you can show me that I can do this on my own, because at that point in time, um, I got laid off by Sprint, and then I could not find another job because I was still looking for employment, and they wanted you would have to getting a sponsor. And so this was during the time when they started doing what they call e-verifying. So
Ooh.
maybe you would have been able to get bypass before under the radar. That wasn't happening. So you're approaching your job search from, hey, I need a sponsor.
Yeah.
So I saw myself going in this circle and I just broke down one day and I was like, God, I need your help. And I heard it again, use what's in your hands. Well, the only thing that was in my hands was my real estate license,
Mhm.
and you can operate as a business by getting your LLC. And, some brokers allow you to work under your LLC. So they're paying the LLC versus paying you directly.
Mhm.
So that is the route that I took and I got started. And
How
that
did you know to like go the route of structuring your agent as your real estate business as an LLC? Like, where did you go? Who told you this information?
I have a friend back then. She was one of the top hairstylists in the area. And what does she do all day? She fixed women hair all day. And those women were judges, lawyers, real estate investors, real estate agents, you name it. And as she's fixing their hair, what are they doing? They're talking. And she, girl, guess what I learned today? Girl, guess what you could do? Shundal, use a smart girl. I know you could do this. And that is how I was able to gather my information with her help, as well as me doing some legwork myself, because entrepreneurship runs through my family. Every sister has their own business and works for themselves. This isn't just something that I just got. We all have the bug, and you can see it throughout the whole family. And I think we all got it from my father. So basically, it has some genes to do with it as well.
I was about to say, like, did you feel like with your siblings and your father, did you feel that pressure to be like, okay, this is I have to do this, or as you said, it was just like that bug, or you didn't feel obligated? I want to hear that backstory.
No, it's not that I feel pressured that I had to do it. It was the other way around for me because I have a mother that grew up in a 9 to 5 job. You work for where you need to go. So for
Mhm.
her, grasping the idea of working for yourself and not having nothing to fall back on was kind of scary. So for me, it was me trying to maintain a job to please everybody else. When
Yeah.
deep down inside, I knew I wanted to fly,
Mm.
but I felt like I wasn't getting the kind of respect that I wanted or the support that I wanted from family and friends. Because, when your income is inconsistent, it shows. And then I didn't feel like they believed in me. So that day when I lost my job at Sprint, and I said, God, and I was making $45,000 a year.
Mm.
That's what I was holding on to with a bachelor's degree in finance and business administration. For us coming from the Caribbean, our family is like, girl, you made it.
Yes. And you're here like, no.
No, it got to be bigger than this. That you have a job, it's paying you every 2 weeks. Shundal, what more do you want? You understand what I'm saying? You can plan and like my mom will say, find you a nice little house and be
Listen.
content, you
Yes.
know?
Be comfortable, settle.
Yes. So it was the opposite, me trying to maintain a 9 to 5 job to please everybody else, knowing that I was unhappy, wanting to walk in that entrepreneur lane, but also fearful because I didn't know how to balance the cash flow of things, if that
Mhm.
make any sense. But my first year, unemployed, unable to find a company to sponsor me, I made $75,000 that year after I got laid off doing real estate.
Wow. And that's just
That
with
was the
you.
first year. That's just me. I made 75,000. No one gave me any leads. I found my own leads. I worked from referral. I made $75,000 that first year after getting laid off from Sprint, which was almost double what I was making while I was employed at Sprint. And I was like, okay, God, if you can honor this, I'll be consistent. And the second year, I made 150,000 doing real estate just by myself. No assistant, no virtual assistant. They didn't exist back then. Just me, my folders, and a telephone.
The
And that's
groundwork.
how I started. The
It's
ground.
so the groundwork.
That's exactly how.
A lot of
Yeah.
people, they don't wanna do the groundwork, but you have to do the groundwork because it teaches you so much about yourself, like, things that you thought you could not do. Like, you push yourself to the limit, like,
Mm-hmm.
it's insane how important the groundwork is. With you now transitioning and
Hmm.
realizing that, "Okay, I've made this amount of money in my 2nd year." Like, during that
Hmm.
time, what were some of the challenges that you faced?
Like I wanted to go and get my broker's license, but I was too scared to do so because I knew in actuality I did not INS permission to work. But
I
I felt like it was, huh?
you say
That's the
INF.
immigration. Yeah,
Oh,
that's what it says on the card. You need their permission to work.
oh, yes,
Yeah.
I got it.
So and so I was like, okay. I was too afraid to get my broker license, even though I was doing so well. And I decided maybe I'm in a sweet spot. And maybe this is the best place for me to be until my legalities with my marriage and everything, got resolved. And then I can blossom and be seen or be able to be out there. But I did intentionally stay underneath the radar for comfort reasons.
Okay. So I think that's one of the things because I face that too. It's like
Mhm.
you get over the hurdle of I want to do this, and you finally push yourself to do it, and then you're like, okay, I'm gonna take this step, and then boom, another roadblock, and you're like, oh, I really gotta sit down and wait because
Mhm.
there are just certain things that are just out of your control.
Sure, yeah.
For a lot of immigrants starting this journey, you're gonna have a season of waiting. And it's one of the hardest season ever because you have that drive, you wanna go and like, all right, finally I believe in myself, I can do this. But there's a season that you have to have patience. And I'll say
Mhm.
it's the toughest part. Like, talk
Mhm.
to me about that. Cause I know what it felt like just waiting. And you're like, oh my God, I really just wanna do this, but I can't have to sit and wait. That's tough.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. And then also too, as you're waiting, the very vision that God gave you, you're seeing the person next to you do it. And they're doing it so easy. And at least from your perspective, it seems as if it's easy. And you're watching them prosper. And you're like, well, God, when is my turn? You have me here for a reason. I know I'm here for a reason. Why is it taking me so long?
Mhm.
So these were some of the emotions and feelings that I went through. But one thing I like about myself as a business person and as an individual, I will find a way. I will find a way. There's always a loophole.
All
What is
the time.
what is the loophole and how can I work it and be operating upright?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and that's the avenue I would choose until I get where I need to be.
And I love how you said that you will figure it out because I had the same mindset. I was like, I am not the only person who's going through this. While I wait, because that's something I can't control, what
Mhm.
can I do in the meantime to be ready? Some people think that I just need to sit and wait and then that's it. Like, no. Shonda's like,
So what I did was I knew that I wanted to diversify my portfolio. I and I was on full 10 years grind in real estate, just helping people buy and sell homes. I did nothing else but real estate. I didn't have a part-time job. I didn't do no extra job. I worked my real estate.
At what point were you like, okay, the agent side is working? Like, what was that bug or that itch to make you transition into going to being on the investor side, the development side of things?
I met a young lady from Brazil, Rosangela. We went to the same church. I remember going to Bible study, and when we went to Bible study, she was complaining about how she was not getting her property sold. We were just coming out of the crash when the real estate market had crashed. So, and her style was very modern.
Mhm.
And, her work started to introduce me to something else that I noticed that I liked. And she had about 4 or 5 lots. And she's like, I can't get this house sold. And I don't know what to do. She was asking for prayer during the Bible study. So I walked up to her and I said, Hey, I sell real estate. If you give me the house and I sell it, would you then allow me to sell the rest of your inventory?
Mhm.
She is a negotiator. She's always trying to get you to go lower on your commission. I say,
Listen,
okay, I'll drop it. I'll
wait,
drop it just one time for you, just to show you what I can do, right? And I must say she gave me the opportunity. And the house that she had difficulty selling, which was a modern style home in a very good area, I got it sold in 35 days
wow.
when she had it on the market for like months, and the agents was telling her nobody's gonna like this house, nobody's gonna do this, nobody's gonna do that. And then she called me and she said, Hey, I have these other lots. Let's just get rid of the lots. I said, No, I'll find you buyers. We're gonna build on these lots. Send me the plans that we're gonna build and I'll take the marketing from there. And we were able during a time when the construction market had crashed, it was just building back up. I was able to get all of her lots under contract without just off of design architectural plans.
How?
People ask you, how do you do this, Shundal?
Yeah, because like, how?
I don't want to sound crazy, but when I tell you I got to walk with God, because if I don't walk with Him, nothing is happening for me. That's my silent partner.
Mhm.
Okay. And I was able to sell those houses. We started at the first house we sold was 450,000. The next house was 550. Then it went to 599. Then it just gradually we started increasing. And all I did for her was took those plans, did for her. She was the builder.
Mhm.
Okay. And we would scrub the plan. She'll say, What do you think about this? What do you think about that? I'll be like, No, I think we need to do this. We need to do that. And that was it. That was my introduction to building and marketing houses without actually having a client to build houses.
You had a finance background, not a marketing background.
I had a finance background, but I had done 2 years in marketing in the Bahamas. The
Mm,
reason why I had stopped was because they didn't have the courses in the sequence that I needed to get out quickly.
yeah.
So then I switched my major from marketing to finance.
So that's
And
where the marketing background also came from.
yes, yes,
Got it. Okay.
yes, because I have associate's degree in marketing.
See, there you go. I was like, how did you get these clients? Has to be some backstory. And not just saying you guys like, you don't have to have marketing background. There is a scale or something that you learned in a previous job that can
Mhm.
help you, especially if you're in sales. That's also pretty good. Like marketing background is it for me. That's why now I'm so good with marketing, with email marketing and trying to
Uh-huh.
build extra social media because
Mhm.
I have that background and that's all I've been doing. So I think there's so many different skills that we learn throughout our journey, even at school, where you think may not even apply to you in the future, but it will because let's look at it now. You did finance. Now running your own business, you are gonna take all those things from finance to apply it in your business. So let's talk about cash. I don't think none of us like talking about cash flow. And
No.
I we
In
just
in this business that I'm in right now, to be honest with you, I think that's one of the most difficult processes that I'm trying to manage.
yeah.
One of the things, and that's why it's good to kind of network and talk to other builders. We have another builder associate that we do business or partnership with, and he had mentioned to me, he said, Shundal, we need to stop pulling money from one project to help another project when things aren't going the way we want it to go. And I said, I agree. I think that's the road that I'm on right now because we kind of always having to peel the band-aid and fix something. And then our cash flow is affected in the process of doing so.
Yeah.
I am constantly looking. I know what I need. I'm just trying to figure out the dynamic on how to get there because there's so much information out there, but half of it is not even good or
Oh,
right.
or it's just surface level info. Like you hear the word cash flow and you think, okay,
Uh-huh.
cash flow is just money I have laying around, or it's just what goes in. We sometimes confuse cash flow with profit. But it's when you start running a business and you realize that you need operating cash, money sitting in the
Mhm.
bank, can use to cover your monthly expenses. If
Yeah.
something happens, you have that money. So sometimes you have 10,000 coming in, and we always think that 10,000, let's go pay off this debt. But it's all about how can I use this 10,000 to properly allocate it, use it correctly for the right things, the priority thing, but still not operating in negative where I'm, as you said, pooling funds from somewhere else or going to debt. I think that is super hard to navigate.
Yeah, and I think another thing too, my walk, there was a conflict because my spiritual walk was telling me, "Oh, you don't operate in debt. Ramsey, you take all those classes. I want to be debt free. I'm going to blah, 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 blah." Okay. I am not going to speak against nothing that he's teaching because I think his teaching is good for the 9 to 5 employee. But if you're going to be an entrepreneur, we have to learn how to operate in debt.
Yes. And
We have to call it good debt, and we gotta figure out how to leverage that debt. And that is where I had the moment. And I remember telling a friend who was trying to open a clothing store, I was like, "You can't go to your friends that work the 9 to 5 job to get an advice.
no.
Understand? You have to go to an entrepreneur who's gonna tell you you're gonna feel the pain. This
Yeah.
is what you're gonna go through, but you need to go, yeah, you need to borrow."
Yeah. And that's the thing too. Like even when you do get the debt, it's like, how can I manage this debt so I'm not over leveraged?
Mhm.
Think these are things that are hard to navigate. But as you said, like once you start being around people who is doing the same thing that you're doing and you can ask advice, you don't have to figure things out on your own at all. And I think that is a tough part.
But definitely correct.
And I think for me with cash flow, it was fully understanding how important it is to keep track of my spending for my business, how to separate that from my personal, like we've had a conversation about this, how to truly manage the capital as well as best as we can to
Right.
save to operate it and stuff like that. So I think how did you like figure that part of it out?
Well, to be honest with you, I'm still figuring it out. I have to be truly transparent because it started off with that 75,000 that I made when I went on my own as real estate. I was always short. I was always calling a friend to borrow. I have a friend. I'd
Oh
be
yeah.
like, "Girl, I need you to keep $1,000 petty cash available just for me for when I need to call you." Okay. I used to tell my girlfriend that I need you to just have 1,000 petty cash on the side for when I need you. When I call to borrow, you'll get your money back, but I need to borrow right now.
And that's the thing. I think sometimes too, like we don't have enough cash flow and we're like, let's borrow all this money. But then we need to have a plan to pay it back.
Oh,
And you're just gonna keep
but
borrowing.
But what happened was I noticed and when I made that first 75,000, I remember I was always short and I was like, "God, what is it that I'm not doing, what I'm not doing right?" And the thing is the friends that I'm borrowing from, I couldn't tell them. I realized I was making more money than they.
Mm.
So there's something that you're not doing right.
Yeah.
And so then that's when I learned we had this equation whereby we're taught your bills, right? You have your $100 that you made, you have your bill. Let's say your bill is $100,
Yeah.
right? So we're so old, we don't want to be in debt. We go and we pay, you have your little $100, you pay off the whole bill for $100. And then we have to figure out what to live off afterwards. That's the wrong
Wait.
equation. What I learned was you take 20% of your money to pay off your bills. The whole idea is you don't need your stuff shutting down so that you could then have to pay a higher amount to get it reactivated, to get it back
Yeah.
on and all that stuff. And then you should have that other $80. Something to go to watch your food, something to maybe to have a watch a movie, maybe something else, to go and take yourself to get your feet done. And then
Yeah.
you may take that $30 and put that in savings for next month, just in case, you know. But we didn't know any better. We just was taught pay your bills, pay your bills. As the money's coming in, I'm paying the bills, but then when finish paying the bills, I don't have no money for groceries.
Yeah. So it's like you're on a hamster wheel.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And
And
now until I realized Well, you're looking at the equation wrong. Flip it. Instead of taking a small percentage to live off, take a small percentage and balance and manage your bills. It's called
Yeah.
managing your bills.
Mhm.
Managing bills. And then have some aside for yourself because what's the enjoyment of working so hard, but you can't even treat yourself to a dinner?
Yep. Yep. And I wanna touch on this, and I want us to go deeper into this part of the conversation because we you find a lot of immigrants when we come here, it's work, 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 24/7, 365. And then we just have this mentality that you shouldn't have fun. You should just be working, but then you're working and all your money just go in bills. Just like you don't see the money. So you're like, okay, I need to make more money. So you add more hours to it. And okay, now I don't have money saved up for emergency because what? We're on a hamster wheel just going around
Uh-huh.
and around. And I think that is a cycle that is so hard to break.
Right. Yeah.
Makes you even feel guilty for taking a break sometimes or being intentional, like, okay, just an hour or a day is just gonna be me. I'm gonna spend on myself. Okay, I also want to save $10,000 for emergency funds instead of me putting all this money to pay my bills. How about again, as you said, manage it, but in order
Mhm.
get to that 10,000, I'm going to take out 500 bucks out of my pay. I don't care what it is, but 500 comes out to go into savings. Whatever is left, I'm going to manage that and move things around to cover the basic
Mhm.
things to keep my lights on. And I think when you start doing that over time and you see money being saved up, you don't have this guilt to be
Right.
all I'm doing is working, is working, is
Working.
working. No, you're being strategic with your income and you
Mhm.
feel good, but okay, I can see some of my money in savings. I think that cycle, it is so hard to break.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's easier said than done. You're gonna fall on your face sometimes, but I believe in getting back up and doing a reset, you
Mm,
know? And the thing about it is I feel like I'm a person that I know the weaknesses in my business. I know where we're short. I know what we need.
yeah,
I'm constant researching to find because one thing I realized there's always the answer out there. It's just how you just have to navigate through all the excuse my expression bull to
yeah.
get to the right answer.
Mm,
But I know that the answer is out there, so I'm constantly researching, going like on Zoom meetings, listening to what people have to say, um, people like, "Oh, you could get working business working capital. Be careful of those business working capital." I'd be like, "What are you calling me for? I'm a construction company. Your product is designed for a grocery store
yeah, yeah, yeah,
where you have cash coming in and out constantly in a day. How do you deal with someone where the money is lump sum and you may not see another lump sum for another 2, 3 months?" And then that's when I realized that's why our company wasn't marketable in terms of getting the kind of working capital that we need because guess what? You who may have $200 coming in every week seems less risky than me that may have $200,000 coming in every month
yeah,
because your 200 is more consistent. 200,000, that's a right. I was like, oh, it's easy. Just divide that by 12 months and you'll get an eye. No, they don't
yeah,
do that.
yeah, yeah.
So now I'm back on the drawing board.
But you know, the crazy thing is, like you said it, like, I think we're always learning. More you level up is the more you realize that you don't know everything. One, you always have to be around people asking questions and trying out to research things. And
Mhm.
also, like, I think on an individual level is that you have to sit back as a business owner and ask yourself, okay, what is going wrong in my business? What can I fix? What do I need help with? We have to be very honest with ourselves, very transparent with ourselves. And we also have to be aware of these things that are
Mhm.
happening in our business so we can seek the help. Because if you're too cocky or you think I know everything, I got this all figure it out, then you're gonna be stuck and you won't grow.
That's true.
You won't grow. So it's like we're always learning. We're always figuring things out and
Mhm.
always gonna hit roadblock. But I think that happens when you just keep leveling up.
Yeah, because you have to understand the challenges that you face in your business is the way I feel God helps you to navigate to grow.
Yeah.
Because then I said to myself, okay, I need cash flow. I need
Mhm.
something that's going to bring in consistent income. We're doing new construction. We may need to take on 2 or 3 rentals and hold it for a year,
Mhm.
you know? And that's how all of a sudden, I was like, oh, I'm an investor. Oh, you know? And it's like I'm diversifying my
Bro,
portfolio.
that's the thing. That is that's
And
the
then,
whole
I have this little friend. I know that I have this little friend over here. She's telling me to buy stocks you know, and just going through all these little stuff, I was able to just kind of learn. And so I know where we're falling short. I know what we need. And so now, like you say, is that growth spurt where we're at now. We have
yeah.
outgrown the small little one house, two house that we're building. We have a larger inventory of houses that we're building. Now understanding that I learned from you. Now understanding not every investor is a good investor.
Which which co which is perfect because this now goes into my next question, is that you're growing, you're doing so many different projects, and we talk about leveraging debt. How do you leverage debt? Because, like, one of the things is that when you have multiple projects going on, you need that operating capital. And sometimes to leverage that debt and make sure you have enough money to meet payroll, cover expenses, unexpected expenses, because that happens when you own real estate or going through projects. We tend to leverage private money. And private
Mhm,
money is an individual who has the capital and they're willing to loan you for a certain amount of time, similar to a bank, except the bank
mhm.
is institutional. When you take on this private money, how are you first of all, before not how, but how did you gain the confidence to know that, you know what, I can do this. I can borrow someone else's money. I feel responsible to borrow someone else's money.
It started like before I met you and before I learned what I learned in your group. I originally had raised on my own about $1 million.
Okay.
Okay, just working on some of the projects that we had. Now, what happened is during that time, we had not no fault of mine, but how do you navigate or inform investors when the county is moving at their own pace?
Yeah.
When you say, well, this process normally takes 3 to 6 months, give or take, but then, the county wants this, the county wants that, or they just have a delay in their movement. That is where I fell short. I didn't know how to navigate communication with those investors. That's an area of our business that we have to find someone who can just be the person that updates the investor
Yeah.
because I'm in the field all day, making sure that the houses are being built properly, making sure these contractors are showing up on the job and that they're not stealing
Hmm.
from me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And all these other stuff. It's not that I don't think they're not important, but by the time you get home at 6 or 7, mentally I'm drained and I'm trying to now sit behind a computer to do paperwork.
Yeah. That investor relations is very crucial.
So that investor relation is very crucial, and I feel that I dropped the ball in the beginning because I did not know. So now, we're looking for someone who can just talk to my investors,
Mhm.
who can update my investors,
Yeah.
who can be a part of the process, be out in the field with me, seeing what's going on, so you can articulate the correct information to the investors. I realize that that's an important part of the model that I've dropped the ball on and is currently, as we speak, trying to get that redesigned so we can be better in that area.
And so you raised $1 million. Well, how much did you
But
raise?
I didn't know I raised $1 million until you put me on Monday. See, that's the thing. I didn't know until I went on Monday. When
What?
you when you gave the challenge and you had sent the framework for our PML business, I said, okay, I know this is gonna help me see the investors that I need, but I wanted another platform showing all of the deals that we had so
Yeah.
I'll know, you know? So I kind of put in the money that I had raised from other people, and I could not believe it. I didn't know it was $1 million
Yeah. Because we're not keeping track.
because I wasn't keeping track. It's like you're just trying to get this money to keep the projects moving that I wasn't paying attention to what I was actually
Yeah.
getting. In my mind, I knew how each person was getting paid,
Mhm.
but I didn't have a spreadsheet per se where that showed me all of the money against all of the projects.
Ooh, yeah, yeah.
And
So
that's when
what
I sat back and I was like, hold up now. I did this on my own with just friends and family. My sister contributed heavily with that as well, because there's a lot of her people too.
yeah.
And I was like, okay, now I need to learn a better way to manage them, because when the projects don't go as they should, how am I going to protect their money? What am I going to do to protect their money?
Yeah.
And after we had the conversation and we said not all investors are good investors, I had an investor reach out, a guy who was willing to give some private money, and I knew how to pitch. I said, if you're looking for a drug deal, I can't help you. I can't. This is not a quick fix process.
Yeah, yeah.
This is construction. We built up from the ground up. 6 months to 12 months is my goal. Sometimes it don't go as I plan, but this is the only security I can give you.
Yeah.
We have so much ongoing projects that if one falls short, I know I can put you somewhere else. Your
Mhm.
money is protected.
Yeah,
That's
by
the
the
only thing I can offer. Yeah, that's the
yeah.
only thing I can offer right now. And I think when I said that, it gave him the true risk. So your risk is time.
Mhm.
That's
Give
that's
patience
me.
to wait.
Yeah. So don't give me nothing that you need in 6 months. Don't give me nothing that you need right away. But if you're willing to be patient, you will see the return on your money.
Your money. And it's so funny because a lot of people at the beginning, you're like, I've never raised private money before. But when you look back and you look in how many persons who trusted you, friends and family, and gave you their capital and you deploy that and you gave them back, that's you raising money. Because we always think that we need to raise this money from a private individual or not even private, like an institution, my bad.
Mhm, mhm.
And then, but if we don't keep track of things, like you won't feel confident that, okay, I did this. I can do this. I can go to the next level because you're not seeing it. That's why with a lot of business owners, they tell you metrics are super important. Track what,
Mhm,
because that's the only way you can make strategic decisions to improve. But if you're
mhm.
going with the flow, then you won't be making strategic decisions to grow your business as an entrepreneur. Like you
That's
just
true. That's true. Yeah.
like metrics is so important. I think that's why when I got the Monday, I was like, wait, that gave me the confidence. And when I hear people talk about, oh, I've raised $10 million,
Mhm.
difference. Million, like, is that just you know people with money, or did those people give you the money? That's
Yeah.
a big difference because
Yeah. Big
if you
difference.
got money, you can be like, okay, I definitely raised 10 million because investors gave me that money and that is a total of it. If
Yeah,
you don't
that was money that was put in my account.
exactly. Here's the
Mhm.
proof. And if no one want to tell you, oh, you're a liar, whatever it is, you can show it because I have the proof. I am tracking my metrics. And I think that's what transition that helps you to transition sometimes when you're moving from a solo entrepreneur to now, okay, I'm thinking as a business. I am
Yes,
not
yeah,
running a business. I need to make strategic decision. And that is the that's where you want to get to.
yeah, I agree.
Man, see, and now after that $1 million, how much have you raised after that?
I'm not gonna lie, a lot well, the funds that I've raised, and the reason being is I feel safe in your group, I must say, and I've
Full
kept
disclosure, guys. Full disclosure. I did not ask her to say any of this.
no, she did.
Okay,
Because
go.
I was on the internet, I've gotten scammed before. We've gotten scammed where we've lost money before. It's like, I don't know if there was someone in your group I had posted and say, hey, I'm tired of getting scammed on here and I'm trying to get connected to the right set of people, right? And I said, when you say private money lender, I'm looking for the individual, not the institution. There's a
Yep.
difference, right?
Yep.
And there was a lady that responded and she said, you need to join this group, which was your group. And that's how I got invited into your group. And I was so excited because I was like, I'm around like minded people. This is what I'm looking for. And they're real, and you can tell the ones that's in it because they're consistent. And if you have questions, you can ask. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't, but I feel safe. I feel safe in your space compared to what I had experienced out there. But since being a part of your group, we have raised what, 300 and something thousand. Yeah.
Not to
With
mention
your
the
help,
deep
of course.
yeah, without not to
Yeah.
mention the detail we've done together.
Yeah. Then that doesn't include, that's why I say with your help. That is what we have yeah.
Yeah. And together we've done deals. And I think what I like is that, as you said, like in this space, there's gurus and there's good gurus, there's bad gurus. I don't consider myself to be a guru, but I always said that in this space of private money, it's money and it's very risky. I think when I got in, there was surface level information. I'm very detail oriented. I need tell me everything because that's just how my brain works. If you tell me everything, that will give me the confidence to go out there and add my twist, my flavor to it. And I think I always said, like, if I get into the space of sharing my knowledge, I want to give details. Like, this is exactly what I did. I'm not going to tell you this is what ChatGPT says
Right.
or like what the internet says because that time AI wasn't that
Mhm.
popular. Yeah. I wanted to share things that I have done. And I could say, this is what worked for me. Here's exactly what I did. Take it, add your own
Mhm.
twist to it
Mhm.
and go out there and raise money because I realize money is everywhere.
Yeah.
What overlook is it takes time to build that relationship, and
Mhm. Yeah.
no one wants to do that. So before, like, I have one more question, and it was like, if you were like, and this is the typical cliche question, but if you were starting over today,
Mhm.
right? What's one money mistake that you actually I have two questions, but what's one money mistake that you would avoid?
For me, and what I'm learning right now is being very selective with the investors' money that I take on. I need people who understand construction, who understands real estate and the market, who trusts it even when there's all the noise in the marketplace.
Okay.
That I think is one of the things that's important that I've made errors in. More excited about getting the money rather than actually looking at the investor themselves and realize that they're not the right
Good.
choice
Yeah.
or fit. It's almost like you're on the grind so much that when you get a yes, you're so happy for the yes that you forget to take inventory on who's saying yes. But I have to acknowledge you in the lessons that you're teaching us in the group because that was something that you said. Not all investors are a good fit. And once you learn your product and you learn your processes, it's okay for you to say, thanks, but we're not a good fit,
It facts. Yeah.
you know? And I'm at the point where I'm okay with saying we're not a good fit.
Anything?
Correct. Yeah, and correcting those previous wrongs and putting things in place to make sure they get what they need. And then I could move on, stuff like that.
Okay. And then my last question, I promise it's my last question. If you could leave one advice to like any immigrant that is building a business here in the US, what would you say?
Don't be afraid.
She's like, you afraid?
Because it's sad. We walk with a little bit of fear. You know what I
So
mean? Is a little bit of fear that we walk with because we don't want no one to know that we're an immigrant. You
yeah.
know, we kind of keep that. Because I remember when I saw one of your thinking, you say, "Oh, I'm an immigrant." I say, "Look at this fool telling these people,
Wants to keep quiet?
right?" And I was like, "Oh my god, that is bold." And then one day you were talking, and I was like, "That's true. That's your brand. You're bold about it, and you're standing on it, and you're saying this is who I am, and this is how I did it." And I was like, "Okay, Shundal, what are you afraid of?
Yeah. Yeah. Do it. I always say, I agree with you. It's like, do it scared.
Do it scared."
There's something about the immigrant mentality. Once you everything that you have in your home country and the fact that you came to the US, you came here for a reason. Way of life, better financial, what do you call it?
Opportunity.
City for
Yes,
your family.
where you're from is who you know.
That's it.
Is no, you walk in a room in the Caribbean and they want to know who your mama is, and they're wrapping you up based on where your family financial level is, who your mommy is, who your daddy is. You walk in a room in the States to make a deal, black, white, or indifferent,
Mhm.
right? Does the deal make sense?
Yes.
They don't care who your mama is. How are you going to repay this? When are we going to receive this? It's
Mhm.
all about the deal. So that it made me more confident because it was like you were being respected for what you were bringing to the table. You weren't being looked at as who your mama was or
Yep.
who your dad was. You know what I mean? Because I remember being in the Bahamas with a little boutique store selling out of my clothes
Yeah.
and needing $10,000. When I think about the amount of money that passes through my hand now, and notice that back then, all I wanted was $10,000 to overstock my inventory because I was selling out. The bank saw that I was selling out. You saw sales coming in. And they told me straight up,
No.
do you have $10,000 to put up for the $10,000 that you want to borrow? I'm like, well, gee, if I had the $10,000, I won't be here.
Listen,
What
they
are you
make
talking
it
about?
I think they're just so school with things. Like way, way too old school. And that's what I love about private money too. Like people are looking at, as you said, how's my money
Uh-huh,
protected? I think just coming here, you have the opportunity to
uh-huh.
start a clean state, build your own network of people,
Mm-hmm,
your own business. You create your
mm-hmm.
narrative of how do you want to sell yourself. But at the end of the day, like you just have to show up. And as you said, don't be afraid. And even if you are, just
Yeah,
still yourself to
do
put
it
one
afraid.
in front. Yeah, do it while being afraid. Just put
Mm-hmm.
one foot in front of the other and then worry about whatever happened next. And you'll be surprised. You're like, this is why I was afraid. Okay, I can
Correct.
do this. And another fear is gonna pop up. Then listen. But no, I think
Uh-huh.
it's one of the reason like I really
Yeah.
created this
I
channel was
remember I was fearful too, like even when we were buying.
who I lost her. But in the meantime, until she comes back,
Can you
okay,
hear me?
I'm hearing you now. Go.
Okay. I remember too, even like fearful too in hearing the prices of things. I don't know if you had that experience in your investment journey. Like I was so comfortable asking investors for 50, like 50,000 was a comfortable number.
Mhm.
And you got these deals where you now need 350,000, 500,000. Like how do you go from 50,000, now I have to ask these people for this kind of money? Like, no, but you're trying to get this 32 acres of land, it's $3 million. How are you supposed to get it?
Um,
50K. So it's like,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. For me to get to this next level, I gotta like up my ass and it's gonna be scary because now, as you said, you're gonna get that
Mhm.
500,000. Like, oh, I got that 500. Now the next level up, you gotta ask for $1 million, 2 million. You're gonna have fear because you've never done it before. Of course you're gonna
Yeah.
be afraid, but do it scared, man. Do it scared. Man, my love. This was really good. Let me see if she comes back because she froze. Okay, I got her back. Okay, perfect. Shonda, like, how can
Yes.
persons reach out to you? Like, which social media platform are you most active on, and how can they connect with you?
They can connect with us on Instagram under Mount Olive Homes. We also have our YouTube channel, Cozy Spaces, and I will be in English. Keleisha,
Yes, I'm here.
you're
Um,
back? Okay.
okay, perfect. All right,
Wait,
here.
no, I'm gonna say it again.
No, go. So
You can find us.
no, go ahead.
Okay. You can find us on Instagram at Mount Olive Homes. And also we'll be starting a new YouTube channel. Right now it's under Shundal Rogers, but on that channel we'll be able to talk about real estate. We'll be talking about PMLs, maybe how to join Skool with Keleisha, whatever it is, real estate, we'll be talking about it on that channel.
And I'll also, guys, in the description, you will see her link to her socials as well. So you can always reach out to her. She's based in Georgia. She does development. So if you guys are looking to invest with her, I'm not soliciting for you guys, but if you want to connect with her and ask about her projects, feel free to do so. Also, let me know what you guys think about this video. Okay. Don't forget to like this video. Also, comment if you guys have questions, follow-up questions from this conversation, drop them in the comments. And then that way we can give you guys clarity or answer all those questions for you guys. But until next time, thank you guys.
Until next time.
Thank you
Bye.
so much.